DoorDash laid off 6% of its company's staff, 1,250 people. Facebook laid off 11,000 of its employees, 13% of its workforce. Same month, Twitter laid off 3,700 employees. September of 2022, Snapchat 1,300 individuals gone. Zillow, a month before that, 300 employees gone. 2023, it continues with IBM, 3,900 individuals gone. Spotify, 400 individuals gone. Google, 12,000 employees laid off. Microsoft, 10,000 laid off. Amazon, 18,000 worldwide centers gone. And there are more planned for 2023.
Welcome to the Good Life.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, C. Muzan. I got Kabi, Coach, here in the building. Say what up, bro.
What up, though?
In the building.
That's right. That's right.
Pardon the raspy voice, guys. I'm getting my voice back. I lost my voice a couple days ago, but we're here. So I got the Jada Kiss going, the raspy voice.
Yep, definitely in our 30s, man. Shout out Jada Kiss of death.
Mwah. That's it. But how you been, man? How was your week?
Been good, solid, chopping wood. As you guys know, just staying consistent, kind of doing the same things over and over again with work, working out, home. Nothing too major, as I get a little accent as I say that. Nothing too out of the ordinary this week. Just consistently about chopping wood, man. How about you?
Same. In all honesty, I feel like this is a superpower. I was thinking of this earlier this week about having a routine. A routine I can stick to gives me like just great joy and pleasure and like clarity and foundation. Like I feel good to be in a routine. Some people need like all types of stimulants and different things. And I'm just like, man, really looking forward to hitting the gym tomorrow morning and just doing my thing. Really looking forward to just knocking out these trainings at this time. I'm so excited just by having a routine that I'm okay with what some people would call the mundane, because it's a routine that I've created. Some people might hate their routine because it's a routine that was given to them, like AKA a job or, school or whatever the case is. But like I created this routine and I really enjoy it and it helps me. It helps me stay sane. So
now, let me ask you, obviously we have different folks, people who like routine, people who don't like it for whatever reason, right? Some people just don't like doing the same things all the time, regardless of if they created it or not. And others need to do the same thing over and over again. Otherwise, they go insane with all the different things that pop up. Does it matter, doing the same thing over and over again if you're kind of seeing some sort of like movement? And what I mean by that is some sort of progression, some sort of like thing that's happening slowly. Because or does it not matter to you, right? It's just routine. It is what it is. You do what you do. Or do you need to, like, for example, routine with your workout? Like you see like a little progress each time. Routine with your your schedule as an entrepreneur, you see like business being done a little bit. How important is that progress or movement for you in terms of actually enjoying your routine?
it's a really good question, man. It's a really good question. Again, speaking from the I think I've conditioned myself to not have to look at the progress or to not need the progress to know that the routine helps me continue to chop wood, so to speak, right? And just keep hammering away. I do have an end in mind, right? There's an end goal, obviously, right? Not just doing a routine mindlessly to get through the day, not doing it mindlessly to, right, just do it. I'm doing it because there's an end in mind. I know that going to the gym will get me to the place of strength that I want to be, that we've talked about, but I don't necessarily need to see the progress. I don't necessarily, I know it's getting me there. because I know that if I'm doing the right things and working hard at it and continuing to stay consistent at it, I'm just a believer that whatever I'm trying to get to will come. I don't have to see the progress. I don't have to see the progress in business. This is actually kind of it could be a fault of mine. I don't often look for the progress. I don't often measure the progress. I don't often pat myself on the back or right applaud a lot of things because I'm just in the work. I'm just in the work. And I think there's power in that. And again, I can see the other side as well. I can see the other side that people need to see progress in order to make the routine more comfortable for them, or they need to get positive feedback or positive reinforcement in doing the thing. But I think if you just have, the way I'm wired, if I just have an end goal and I know that's what I'm headed towards, and doing these things will eventually get me there. mm, I call that a level of patience, right? Like to just stick with the formula and just stick with what's going to work. So
I would also call it a man of faith. You walk by faith and not by sight. And
mm,
I say that because a key component of what I just heard you say was an element of belief or trust in the system. And for some people, at times myself, you need some sort of feedback. Doesn't have to be positive,
mm,
but some sort of feedback, as in like, are we on the right track? Right? Are things moving like it should be moving? Oh yeah, okay, cool. Head back down. Let's work for a little bit. Still good? All right, cool. Head back down and work for a little bit. Um, and some people need that a lot more, and others, it sounds like yourself, don't need that at all. They just trust that the system is moving forward, and
yeah,
they're completing what they need to complete, and things will work out for the best.
absolutely. And again, I think you can find success in both areas. The other side, I don't understand fully the needing the constant change. I don't know how you get to where you need to go. If it's like I need to some weeks I do this and some weeks I do this and then I get tired of this and then I go here and then I need to switch it up and then like I don't fully understand that side. Maybe somebody can help me with that side.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah, yeah. I think that's an interesting point. I was just watching a show about I think it was like masters, people who are masters of whatever it is that they do,
mm,
and there was two individuals, both designers, right, and their process was completely different.
mm,
One was just like methodical, right? Was A after B, C, D, like very methodical, very clean, very everything was just like I wouldn't say robotic, but very much, you know, finding the pattern and following the pattern. The other one was all over the place. She's like,
mm.
If I show up to my office and I have to sit there for more than like 5, 10 minutes to do, no. I hate that. I like to be all over the place, getting into people's work, making a little comment here and there. Like I like to be moving and have, I like to be interrupted, right? When
Mm.
I'm in the middle of something, I'm interrupted, ask a question, and I can solve it real quick and go. Like, she just likes to be in this like, chaos, what appears to be a chaotic dance.
Right. Teach his own, man. I guess that works. I would, and I don't know how, the show you're referencing or anything. I'm not sure how long they were in their craft work, so to speak,
Hmm.
right? But I
Yeah,
would,
30, 40 plus years.
and I would say, like, are they? Where do they measure up? Are they at the same level? Because if so, or they're both
About,
masters of it, then to each
yeah.
his own. Like I said, everyone has a different learning style. Everyone has a different style of performing, so to speak. So hey, if it
Yes,
works,
sir.
if it works for you, it works for you, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Anyway, brother, two
You got
by
to. I
two.
was gonna say, first off, you got a Detroit fact.
Now
You got a
listen,
Detroit
I was
fact?
gonna
You
let
got.
Detroit breathe
We're
today,
gonna let
man.
we
But
can't we can't let Detroit breathe.
we
If you don't have if you don't have one, I have one. I saw one.
uh-oh.
I think I might have sent it to you. I
Go
think I
ahead.
might
Go
have I
ahead. Go
think I might
ahead.
have
Go ahead.
sent on Instagram. I saw this, right?
Oh, you did. You
Man,
did.
I
Yeah.
forget the name of the group, so I'm not gonna be able to get it. But either way, there's a group of black men in the city of Detroit
Uh-oh.
that are covering women specifically black women, by pumping their gas and watching them when they're at gas stations at night. Right? Stand up gentlemen, stand up guys, being out there protecting queens, protecting women that are out there, right? Around with all the randomness that happens. They're saying, you know what, we're going to protect them and we're going to make sure their gas gets pumped. We're going to make sure that they get escorted into and out of stores late at night so that, so that there's some protection.
Wow. Brothers of the new era.
There it is.
Detroit.
There it is. Where would you find that other than the great city of Detroit, huh?
See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Look at the quality of individuals, man. Giving up, they're not getting paid. You know, they're not getting paid for this. It's just goodness out of their heart, looking out for how do I make my neighbor better? How do I make my neighborhood better? How do I look? See, this is the type of brotherhood you don't really see in other parts. You know what I mean? Shout out Detroit. God, listen, man. If they turn up the temperature a little bit in Detroit, I'll be living there. All right. If they turn it up just a little bit, tad too cold for more.
Listen, global warming's a real thing, right? So you never know. You never know.
Let's not get canceled. No comment. No comment. No comment. But shout out. Bottom line is shout out Detroit.
That's right.
Brothers of the new era, we see you. And as you set this example, the rest of this country will look to the great city of Detroit for leadership, right? For examples of how we can rise up in our communities and be examples, right? For our sons and our daughters and people that are growing up, man. God, people in Detroit, stand up.
Dana's in our comments bashing the city of brotherly love. I'm not going to let you bash Philadelphia. Yeah.
I said, let's go, Dana. Yeah. Dana knows. Hey, Dana, you will never find that in Detroit. Am I right? I mean, sorry, Philadelphia. You will never find that in Philadelphia. Am I right?
Yes, you will. Yes, we will. We're here.
Still looking.
We're around.
I'm still looking, man. I'm still looking.
God bless the birds. God bless the birds. Go Birds.
Although they will drop in the Super Bowl, but that's all right.
They will not. By the time people hear this, because some of you are watching it live, by the way, you're gonna get it first, but some of you might not see this until the recording. So the Eagles will have already won the Super Bowl by the time that you hear this. But for those of you that are watching right now, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, just so you know.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
you wanna wager something on this?
Let's talk about it, man. I'm ready.
All right, we'll get a wager. We'll get a wager doing right off the bat. Send us, Dana. You're listening to this. Others who are listening to this live. What should the wager be when the birds are cooked?
Oh,
in the Super Bowl.
It's not happening. I'll wager whatever. Let's put some things in the chat. Let's see.
Let's see. Yeah. What should the wager be? Is it 100 push-ups? You know, is it a watch? Right? Is it a new sound button? What should it be here? I mean, I think man, this is a good opportunity right here for me to get a new pair of shoes or something.
I got to start thinking about what I actually need. And I'll let you know.
I could use a jacket. It's cold out, even in the shoe. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get it. I'm in LA, but it's still cold. All right, y'all calm down.
What? It's 50. It's 50 degrees out there.
Nah, man, it's 55. It's nippy.
See, look at you. Too much. On to the 2x2. 2x2. Again, this is the segment of the show where we, Kabi and myself, take a topic, give you our 2-minute take on that topic. Today, we are talking about egg prices. Egg prices. I've been seeing a lot of memes out there and a lot of people making jokes about eggs being the new drugs, right? Packaging up the eggs, making sure you're keeping your eggs safe because they're worth a lot these days. But some stats say that egg prices rose 60% in 2022. 60% price of eggs jumped up. Some of you might be seeing this. But there's a couple different takes on this. Some people are saying that there's a deadly outbreak of the bird flu, and it's compounded so much that it's killed a bunch of birds, killed a bunch of chickens, and they're not going to produce eggs. So that's why the supply and demand, right, is off. And now the eggs have skyrocketed. But there's another group of people that are saying that this is a scheme. This is some collusion where the industry, the leaders in eggs, in the industry, the largest egg producers, got together and basically said, "Hey, we're going to start price gouging just to make sure we're making some profits." And over the last 26 weeks, the egg prices have gone up 10 times, which has put more money into their pockets. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. We have a problem. This is a problem that we've been highlighting for a very long time here on The Good Life. And let me state it plainly. We need to get closer to our food for a lot of reasons, and this is one of them. Now, I'm not going to take sides between the two groups. On one saying this is done intentionally, so essentially control the price of eggs, and the other is saying that it's some sort of flu that's been taken, that's been killing the producers of eggs. Shout out to the chickens. Um, for me, the one thing that's I think highlighted here is that we're not close enough to our food source. We don't know what's happening. It used to be a time, there was a time in history, right here in this very country, where every family owned chickens, they owned cows, they grew their own food. So not only did they know where it was coming from, if there was a flu, they knew. If there was something wrong, they knew. They also had a greater connection to the food and greater appreciation for the food. But now, not only do we have, talk of egg prices being somewhat, controlled naturally or unnaturally, but we also have fake eggs that are being produced. And this has been out since there's stories out from 2018, 2017 of fake eggs being a major issue in India and China. And guess what? I highly doubt that the United States is just good old pure eggs are being produced here, right? A lot of these eggs are very hard to tell the difference between the two. But obviously, they're not as good for you as natural eggs. And I think this is a microcosm for the entire food story that's happening globally, and let's speak to the United States here. Our food source has been under attack, and I'll speak directly to the trainers and the coaches and the nutritionists, and we're like, just eat normal, real, good food. Well, if we're having a situation where from the source of the food all the way to the plate, there's so many things that can go wrong to the point where even if I wanted to pay for really good, high quality natural eggs, I may end up with something that's fake. Huge problem. Huge problem. And it throws in a lot more than just counting calories and tracking macros. Now the quality of our food is actually under question.
That's huge. Normally, I might have another take or an opposite take on it, but I got to stick in the same vein as what you're saying right now. We just have no idea where our food is coming from, and it's the real problem. As I was thinking about this, I'm like, bird flu, like, how would I have ever heard of this? Like, who knows? Who knows if that's even true? Like, who even knows? Like, we don't
How
have
do you
farm.
verify this?
Yeah, how do you verify this information? Just because it comes from like the government's website or whatever. Like, how do we verify that this is actually what happened? And so this is the real problem. Right now, we're talking about eggs, and obviously, I can correlate this back to money. It's going to hurt your pockets. We talked about inflation, but now, right, just the consumption of eggs. It's not like people are going to stop using eggs, so it's going to cut into your budget, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to up your food costs, restaurants. All these things are going to start happening. It's going to affect your money, right? This is just the first, or not even really the first thing, because produce has gone up like crazy, right? I went to Texas this past weekend, and I saw watermelons in Houston that were $6.99 or $5.99, and up here where I am in Northeast PA, they're $10. The same watermelon, just it came from a different spot, right? So it's going to affect your pockets one way or the other. But I think the real conversation is, we have, like, do we even know if it's real food, if where it comes from, what we're actually putting into our bodies? Again, this is the good life. We're supposed to be talking about health, wealth, mindset, love, happiness, all the things that get us to a good life. If we don't even know where our food is coming from, it doesn't matter. Like Kabi said, it doesn't matter how much we're trying to count calories or macros or whatever the case is. Like, we don't even know where it comes from. And that's the disturbing part. Whether it is for corporate greed, or whether there's an actual bird flu that wiped out the chickens. We just have no idea. And it's another area where we're in the dark, and we really got to get a hold on this thing.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful, but I'm also cautious.
I just can't wait to have our own farm. Like, that's really I just can't wait. Like, it's going to be the goal, right? Like, there's no way to get around this. We have to get back to sourcing our own food.
Yep. And while people are realizing this, I think others, names who will not be named today, are figuring this out like 10 years ago, and they've been buying farmland aggressively. So y'all figure that out.
Man, little guy always is 10 steps behind.
That's it.
Right? 10 steps behind with the information, while y'all were out here doing trucking and real estate.
Serious. Yeah, you saw that. That was, man, for those who haven't caught this was like, I'll say, for the last 5-10 years. This has been like the thing to do as an entrepreneur. Get your trucking company and a freaking make sure you go knock on 1 million doors to trick somebody into selling you some real estate, right?
That's it, man.
There's a lot of people have made a good amount of money. And what's interesting though, most of the people that I could point to are not in what I would consider wealthy markets.
Right.
They're in like North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, like places like that, maybe parts of Texas, all right, or whatnot. I hardly ever hear of any folks coming from that, this era of like everybody get into real estate from like New York or San Francisco or LA or even just the top of the top. I don't see any of that at all.
Yeah, because it wasn't attainable. That's why, right? And I often tell people, real estate was one of those things that they let people into. They just let you in, right? It's like, hey, you can go do this side, but man, should have been paying attention to the farmland, right? Should have been paying attention to the chicken market, the
So
good old
land in general.
Land in general. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I know that's something you're big on, right? Just getting back to land, gold, silver, good old
Chickens.
chicken. Listen,
Chickens, cows.
what's next, man? I wish I had a beat on like the oranges market or the right, whatever the next thing is.
Hey, don't get into the avocado market. You're gonna be fighting the cartel.
No, you actually probably would be though. Like,
yeah. No, I'm not kidding.
No, for real. Mexico's got a lock on that.
Don't do that now.
Don't do it. Into our topic today. Layoffs. What to do if you are in fear of getting laid off or you've been laid off, because they're coming and they've been happening. I don't know if you see the statistics on your side. Could be if you have it. But give the people a couple of these statistics around layoffs, because a lot. I mean, you sent me an article a little bit ago about all these tech layoffs just happening back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm a Gary V, fan to a degree where I watch him for some business stuff, and I remember he did what he calls a 4Ds, right, where he talks to other business, like it's basically like small to medium sized business coaching, right? Like just in group coaching. And this was maybe 4 months ago, 3 months ago. I saw him do one, and the guy was talking about not having enough employees or not having enough employees or people that he needed. And he was like, and Gary straight face was like, don't worry about it. Come second quarter of next year, give it another 6 months or so, you have people lining up knocking on your door. It's like he just said it real casually, as if like he just knew this was gonna happen, but like it's really happening. Like
Oh, it's happening.
people are getting laid off left and right, left
Yeah,
and right.
yeah, it's really bad. I mean, we could go forever, but on November 30th of 2022, you know, DoorDash laid off 6% of its company staff, 1,250 people. Meta, obviously, Facebook laid off in the same month 11,000 of its employees, 13% of its workforce. Same month, Twitter laid off 3,700 employees. Um, then in the September of 2022, Snapchat, 1,300 individuals gone. Zillow, month before that, 300 employees gone. I mean, we keep going. 2023, it continues with IBM, 3,900 individuals gone. Spotify, 400 individuals gone. Google, 12,000 employees laid off,
Oh my.
gone. Microsoft, 10,000 laid off. Amazon, 18,000 worldwide centers gone. Salesforce, gone as well. Or 7,000 jobs have been dropped there. So I mean, there are more planned for 2023. So it is a rough year. And to your point, I think those who are in decision making positions have been kind of seeing this and calling this for a very long time. I've been around individuals who are in those type of positions in their company, and they've been giving me the heads up for a while. Even before then, the type of industry individuals that I've been listening to and just kind of keep a tab on things that are going on have been
Mm,
calling for this really since the beginning of the lockdowns
mm,
in 2020 and even end of 2019. I remember listening to a few quote unquote insiders that predicted, this type of stuff to be happening within the next 3 to 5 years of it being a really, really down season. I don't know what the term would be for having 3 to 5 years of this sort of hardship. But bottom line is people are struggling.
mm.
People that we know, individual, personal basis, and then I think the community as a whole, local communities, and then even the greater, United States and global community is definitely in a very tough position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the time, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time to start to pay attention to some things. And those of you that have been, longtime followers and listeners here on The Good Life, from a financial standpoint, my message always remains the same. It's about making sure you have a solid financial foundation. And this is the time if to pay attention to some foundational things in your finances, some
Yeah.
foundational things, especially if you are thinking about getting laid off, or you're thinking you have a potential to get laid off. It's coming near close to your industry, or you see your company's revenue, or right, your sales are going down, or things are getting slower, right? If you start to feel those things, there's some things you got to do financially to make sure that you are on the right track. Number one, as I just throw out a couple things here, or I throw out one thing for you, uh, start looking at your money. Again, those of you that have been listening to us, you've heard me say this multiple times, but I still sit down with people on a daily basis that do not actively look at their money. They do not actively see exactly what's coming in and what's going out. They don't really know. They know how much money they might be coming in from their job, but they really don't know where it's going. They have an idea, they have a ballpark, they know they got a little habit, They know their bills are kind of high, but they don't actually look at their money. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen. If you are in any arena, any area where you think you may get laid off, go start looking at your money. Go pull a bank statement. Go onto your online banking. Look at January. Right? We just got through a month of January. Go look at January. Take the 1st to the 31st and look at the spending. Look at the spending. Just start to become aware of it. Start to become familiar with it. Where is that money going? If you do 3 months, you'll get real good insight for your own habits, right? If you look back 3 months, if you look at November, December, and January, and December is always a weird month because people got gifts and families and travel, right? So December is sometimes an anomaly, but it's an anomaly at the same time every year, right? Because every December is probably in the same ballpark for you, right? So, but you're going to want to look at it now. You're going to start paying attention to it because that's going to now help you just become more aware of your money. So, in the event you get laid off, you know exactly what your expenses are. In the event that you get laid off and there's all the other things going on in your life that are causing you some of the things we'll talk about later, right? Some of the stressful things, you know exactly how much your monthly bills are. You know exactly how much you pay for certain, miscellaneous items. You know exactly what you can start cutting out immediately before you get back on track. You already know it. You're not scrambling in the time of crisis to do those things. So that's my first step as far as some foundational things thinking about getting laid off. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Makes a lot of sense to me. Hopefully, you've been listening to Chris for a couple of years now, and you've built that foundation. Um, and you kind of put yourself in a place where this will be a temporary inconvenience or a very painful inconvenience, but it's not something that's going to take wipe out you or your family. That is our hope. Um, because there's multiple components of this, and I think the first one is to make sure that you still got a roof over your head, food on the table for the family, and you can go ahead and take care of the fundamentals so you can live to fight another day. And I think that's number one right there. So I think you've been hitting on the fundamentals for a long time. For some people, they listen and take the action, and for others, they kind of need a little shakeup to remind them that the reality of the situation. But I think we'll speak on this as well too for those who maybe didn't adhere to your fundamental elements that you've been speaking on for a long time, and are in that place. I'm sure we'll give them a few things that they can start to do to stop the bleeding. But before you know before we even get to the component of talking about some of the mental, emotional, and very much physical manifestations of the level of stress that's induced by losing our source of income. I think it's critical that if you're not there yet, you start prepping because I think we're just getting started.
Mm,
All these layoffs and things, I think we're just getting started. We're hitting some part of the cycle, whatever words you want to use. um and it feels to me like this is going to be um bigger, like a
mhm,
lot bigger. And I say bigger, I can relate it, at my tender age, I can relate it to 2008
mhm,
is the one I can remember. And it feels like this is going to be not just a sector of the economy, but this is going to be global. This
mm.
feels like it's going to be global. Um,
Absolutely.
so,
Sh-
yeah.
shout out to Jeremy that's tapped in.
Hey, brother Nate.
We appreciate you, brother. And he's right, man. The tech industry is going through it right now. They're going through it, right? And what's funny is this is kind of reminiscent of. I think I had a conversation with someone else and talked about um, how manufacturing jobs went away in this country and really haven't come back.
Mm,
Right? These tech layoffs,
mm-hmm,
I don't know that they're coming back. If
Mm,
if these things get outsourced, if they become something where you could get twice the work done for half the price,
yeah,
as in what they did with manufacturing and moving everything to China and moving everything to other places,
yeah.
it's not coming back.
Mm-mm.
It's not coming back, right? And that's why this feels bigger than right anything that we maybe have seen, but it also
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of this that manufacturing side of things.
Yeah. Well, we have like what I would call local and a global economic crisis that's taking place, right? We have local in the sense of like jobs, et cetera, but we also have a global in terms of like the entire global economy as we know it is shifting between beneath our feet.
Mhm,
We've talked about this before in terms of on a much more macro level. Individuals like Ray Dalio have spoken on this, that there is a shifting on a very macro level that's taken place. And a lot of these shifts, shout out Reaganomics, are going to take some time to trickle down or trickle up, however you want to put it, for the whole fabric of the community to like really feel what's happening,
mhm.
because what we're feeling now are things that I was hearing about a couple of years ago, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, and now we're feeling it. The stuff we talked about with the eggs and the food in general. People have been talking about food shortage and food prices skyrocketing for a while now. Now we're feeling it. All right. And there's it's obviously the thing we're focused on is being laid off. But the other piece is that individuals are keeping their job, doing the same level of work, if not more, and companies are finding ways to, make sure that they preserve their company profits while taking money out of the pockets of the employees. This is something that
Mhm.
we're seeing, particularly in high paid jobs, right? Where you might be getting big bonuses and things of that nature. What we're seeing now is companies finding reasons, right, to take a little of those things off the table. Obviously, maintaining that their higher level executives still get what they need to get. So they slowly strip from the lower tier, right?
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot of people who are maybe underemployed right now,
Mhm.
and a lot of people who are doing more work but receiving less pay.
Yep.
And additionally, that pay is not going as far, right? So now not only do you have a local, and that's what I mean, local crisis, but global crisis as well, is that money is not, the purchasing power is eroding. And I don't know, man. It's very, very tricky time, and that's why we're doing this episode.
That's right. That's right. It is a tricky time. Not to mention, again, we can dive into it. The stress level, the stress that comes with thinking about these things, the stress
Oh
that
yeah.
comes with fearing that you're going to get laid off, the stress that comes with having to find new work or new employment. There is physical, mental, emotional things that people are going to go through. So one of the tips and one of the things we can kind of encourage everyone to do is take care of your health during these times. Take care of your mental, physical, and emotional health during these times. Learning how to manage stress better, to eliminate it if possible, but there's always going to be stressful situations. But learning how to manage those things. What are some things that people can do? Could be um, start with the physical side if you want to, but what are some things people can be focused on right now to kind of lower that stress? I know we've talked about it before.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that piece up because I think it's incredibly important. If we don't have our sense of peace, what do we really have? Even if we have a lot of money, I think this is one that, regardless of your position, you can take control of right now. Three things I'll give out, three areas of focus. You may recognize them from other podcasts, but number one, let's start with our food, right? It may seem like the thing to do when money is in a crunch is to peel back on quality and try to just get like quantity in. All right, I'm gonna go stop shopping at the farmers market, for example, and go to McDonald's because $5 here at McDonald's might get me more quantity. But that quality, the lack of quality in the long term, will steal your peace. It will steal
Mm,
your peace. And I'm not saying go hungry. I'm just saying, feeding your body with low quality food is not helpful if it can be at all avoided, right? So and the thing is, the truth of the matter as is, maybe we need to go shopping here to show you guys this to be true. But you actually don't need to spend as much on good quality food if you know what you're looking for, number one, and if you clean up your physical body and the things that you're doing with the food as well. Because not only is it the food itself, but it's also how we prepare it, how we eat it, how we go about dealing with it. All of that stuff can have a major impact in terms of short term anxiety, depression, medium term things like insulin resistance, things like our blood sugar levels, which can go up and down, our insulin levels, blood pressure, those things of that nature. They will cost us more in the long term, right? If we try to take shortcuts now. So that's number one is revisiting the quality. I'll say more than even anything else. It's like try to have the quality of the food that you intake be one of the last things to go,
mm.
right? Try to have the quality of the things that you intake be one of the last things to go. Sacrifice other places to maintain the quality of the food that you eat. That's
Mm.
number one.
That's good to know because normally people would go the other direction. You already know that,
Yeah,
right? So that makes
yeah,
sense. That
yeah.
makes
Go
sense.
local. Go local. That's one of the things that I found. Find these groups or these, something like, we're not sponsored by this, but something like a butcher box. Get you high quality meat at a good price that if you take care of will take you very far, as opposed to, buying some trash off the, you know, some low quality stuff that's not going to help you. Number two, and this can be free. If you money is truly a problem, you've been fired or whatnot, send me a message. I'll help you out with this for free. Just to give you a blueprint. Something that you can do is uh, uh, keep movement,
Mhm.
right? Great therapist. You know, my favorite therapist, my longest lasting therapist, has been exercise. All right, touching some weights, doing some resistance training can greatly improve, our mental capacity, our ability to handle stress. Right, so not just looking to decrease the stress, but our capacity for stress. I mean, it can go a long way, and you don't have to spend much money. There's a lot of people that are out in the playgrounds doing calisthenics and getting fantastic mental, physical, and emotional results. That's number two, right? So maintain the quality of your food. Make sure that you're still moving. If you need help with either one of those at no cost, because you're in a tough position with your family, etc., or have lost your job, it's something that we offer to our will offer to our people that are listening to this right now. Hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to assist you if you've lost your job at no cost.
Mhm.
Um, Number three, I would say is lifestyle, right? So, once you've lost your job, I was talking to a buddy of mine who'd lost his job yesterday. And one of the things that we were talking about is, he's taken the correct mindset approach, in my opinion, which is taking it as an opportunity to clean up the things that he had let go when he was comfortable collecting them checks,
That's good.
right? Clean up his routine, clean up when he's watching TV, when he's not, clean up alcohol use, substance use, clean up, just kind of just clean things up. We all need it at times, just kind of clean things up, bring himself back to a place, where he has renewed energy, renewed hunger. And it's been really good for him in that sense, right? And he's in a good place as a result of that. So number one, food as always. Number two, movement as always. Number three, lifestyle. And if you need help with any of those, more than happy to help.
That's so awesome. That's awesome. Those three things will take you so far for everybody that's listening. That lifestyle piece is important. It's important. It's I think you said this offline. I think we were having a conversation. You called like layoffs a breakup. I think you had
Oh
mentioned
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right
yeah,
you
yeah.
instead of breakup. But it's such a great analogy because it's funny. I was thinking of this at the gym a couple weeks ago. Like when people get divorced or they break up with like their significant other, why does like inevitably one or both of them like get better in life? Like they they like drop a bunch of weight, they
Yeah,
become more personable, they look happier. Like it's because that breakup it changes everything, right? It changes the habits, it changes like how you're operating, and so then people start moving in a different direction. And losing a job, getting laid off, is a breakup. It's like it's breaking up with your employer. It's breaking up with that check that you were getting. So that's like the perfect time to then start to change some things in the lifestyle. Like you said, check back in with yourself, clean up some of the habits that you built, right? Maybe obviously happy hour is not going to be a thing. Right? Like you're not worrying about getting off on Friday or Wednesday at 5 o'clock to get to happy hour. That whole that whole mindset shifts a bit. Perfect time to do those things
yeah.
during that transition period of having the breakup from your job. So that's important.
It's funny you mentioned that, man. We know our three greatest teachers are heartbreak, empty pockets, and failures. So that really definitely fits. And and take one of these things. These can be, elevators. They can either take you up or they can bring you down.
That's right. I like that. I like those three. Uh, give you guys another tip of kind of what you should be thinking about or how you could be thinking about things, um, or what you could be doing if you're experiencing a layoff or these stressful things. Go and network with some people. Go and
Mm,
go and shake some new hands. Go get around some new people. Right. Very similar to that lifestyle conversation of you're probably in a certain lifestyle because you were doing the same things, because you're around the same people, either at your job, at your place of business, right? Or just whatever you were doing on your time off. But now, if you have some time open, instead of, just burying yourself in stress and worry, go make some new associations, go have some new conversations. And I think I put out some content about this a while back, but like, shaking hands and open, right, and having new conversations, it opens up doors for opportunities. You get a chance to get some insight on some things. Maybe you meet your next employer, maybe you meet your next business partner. Maybe those types of things alleviate stress and bring you more energy and get your mind to open up a bit more because you hear what other people are doing or have going on. Oftentimes, though, we do the opposite. Oftentimes, we get laid off. We're in a bad place mentally. We're not managing our emotions properly. So we sink back in. We sit at home, right? We sit on the couch more. We move our body less. We do less of those things. And so you got to push against it. You should go out there and be shaking hands with people. Try to figure out kind of where other people are, not necessarily just at the bar, right? But at, you know, other places where you can find higher associations or associations with people that will raise um your vibration, so to speak, right? I think that's going to be a good one for people, because our natural behavior is going the other direction typically.
yeah. Yep. Yep. Nothing to add to that, brother. I think that's spot on.
It's huge. It's huge. So outside of networking, we already kind of talked about taking care of yourself. Obviously, on the financial side, paying attention to the financial things. I'll add in the other part of the finance part, which is maybe you should be thinking about how to start creating your own income. Right? Getting laid off means you were dependent on a job. Again, we're not here to just bash jobs. I'm not a there's a time and place to have a job, and again, plenty of people make a great lifestyle for themselves having a job. From an entrepreneur and someone that has an entrepreneur mindset, the fact that you could get laid off terrifies me. That's the point, right? Like the fact that you could work somewhere for 20 years and be great at what you do, and they could let you go. The fact that
Mhm.
we could hit a recession and have some things happen in the industry that you thought was foolproof, and you get laid off and your income goes from 200,000 down to zero. That's a major shock, and it could come at any time. It could come at any time. I understand we all feel like our jobs are relatively secure, but we're watching it happen. And like could be said in the earlier part of the show, like we're just scratching the surface. This is just the beginning. So, my recommendation, my encouragement to you would be create a skill set that allows you to produce income
Mhm.
and start to practice because it's going to take practice, especially if you've had a job for a long time. It's going to take practice. I break it down and kind of make it relatively simple for some of the people that I coach or some of the people that I talk to. I say most businesses, almost all businesses are comprised of like four components: sales, marketing, financials, and operations. Right? Those four components: sales, marketing, financials, and operations. How do you transact? What do you transact? How do you add value so that you can receive value, right? You can receive a return for that value that you gave. What's the sales mode? Marketing, how do you get more people to hear about you? How do you get more people to pay attention to what you're doing? How do you get the word out to more people? There's a financials component. Obviously, you need to be making a profit. You're not in business to lose money every month, right? So things have to be priced accordingly and making sure that someone is paying attention to the money side of things, employees, overhead, yada, yada. And then the operation side, right? How do you actually do it? One of the books I'm listening to right now is How to Lead by David Rubenstein. And he talks to all the leaders. I happen to just get started in it, and Bill, um, why Amazon, Amazon, what's it, CEO?
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, right? I'm listening to Jeff, and one of his like early revelations in operations in Amazon was he said they were packing books on the floor. They literally didn't have tables. They were packaging books, putting them into shipping bags and like taking them to the post office. And one day Jeff Bezos says, "You know what we need? We need knee pads, right? Knee pads to help us out because my knees are hurting being on the floor." And he said one of his employees looked at him and was like, "No, we need packing tables." And he was like, "Oh, packing tables." And he said that like quadrupled their business right away. That's operations. That's having an operational standard to understand what needs to happen to make logistics and things better in a business. Those four components. Here's the problem. Most people suck at sales and marketing.
Yeah.
That's it. Like most people suck at that. We don't get training on that. We get training to go to school, get a good grades, get a good job, right? We know our work. We know what to do at work, but like we don't know sales. We don't know how to influence someone. We don't know marketing. We don't know how to get more people to hear what we do or bring attention to ourselves. We don't know those things. But it's possible to learn those things. And if you learn those, specifically those two things, sales and marketing, if you specifically learn those and you pick a good industry that you can serve some people that has a good supply and demand arbitrage, you can build a business. That business might not be a seven-figure business, but it might bring you in an extra $30,000 a year. That's like, we're not talking about everyone being Jeff Bezos. We're talking about you having a skill set where you learn how to earn income for you and your family so you don't have to get laid off again.
Mhm.
That's the skill set. Those are the things that I would highly encourage people to start to do instead of just looking for the next job where in the next 5, 7, 10, 20, 15 years, you potentially get laid off again and put your family right back in the same position. That fully doesn't make sense from a guy that's more entrepreneur minded. I know not everyone has the entrepreneur mindset just yet, but I think it's worthy of everyone to have because entrepreneur mindset really is just about ownership,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
income, ownership of your life.
I think that's a very good point and probably requires a full episode later on, which is this concept of ownership that we always talk about. And I'll say one of the things, although individuals may not be entrepreneurship minded, I think it's because of how they think about entrepreneurship and how they define it in their heads. because I talk to a lot of people who ultimately come around to describing some form of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship, I think, is not what I have kind of discovered for myself is it doesn't have to look the same way for everybody.
That's right.
Um, you don't need to start your entire business from scratch. You could take a blueprint from somebody who's already started a successful business and do the same business, because one business most likely doesn't serve the entire world. So there's still a good amount of individuals who are looking for that service, that product, or whatever it is that you provide, maybe with somebody that looks like you rather than somebody that looks, like the person you're looking at, or
Mhm.
maybe in your particular location as opposed to somebody else's location. Um, I think this is where it's probably a little bit of confusion. Is like you don't need to invent something,
That's
all
right.
right, to start a business. And in fact, that may not be the best way to go. If you're going into business, you might want to find something that's already successful and just duplicate that. In fact, now that I'm talking, I would say that's probably a better way to go.
Absolutely.
Uh, uh, yeah, I think it's a very good point, and I think a lot of people are fearful because they're like, "Oh, I'm not an entrepreneur." Da, 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 da. That's fine. You have skills. You
Right.
you do something for your employer, right? So what do you do and what do you do well? And can you do that for others who might appreciate it? I had a client the other day, and she was talking about how she was doing work at some company or whatever. She was a corporate athlete, and she was in charge of kind of doing all of the events for her company. And then, she was, I guess, doing such a good job that, the people would recommend her for things. And all of a sudden she like saw that she was or could make a lot more money doing that than her regular job. So she quit her job and started doing that full time. And now she has, freedom in the sense of uncapped potential.
Mhm.
And it was a very cool story because you could tell, it was she did not want to be an entrepreneur. She didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. She just saw an opportunity to leverage her skill set to give her a better or to better create the life that she wanted to create. So yeah, I thought it was a really cool story. And she's doing all these like really cool parties for like really high end individuals and making a lot of money and really enjoying what she's doing.
That's it. And that's what I call the definition of the entrepreneur mindset. You know what I mean? Taking ownership of your skills and your talents to earn income.
Yeah.
Right? Like, however that looks to you, right? Whatever that looks like, it's just not in the context of a job where you could be laid off and then you have to listen to our podcast to give you tips on what to do. That's all.
Yep.
That's all. That's all.
Yep. And you don't have to leave your job to start a business. In fact, I would say don't leave until your business is doing well.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't until you understand how to make money in that business, what it is that you're doing. Right. You have to understand it. It's not just jumping ship to go over there. There's actual skill sets and things you need to learn. And that's perfectly fine. You should do it while you have a job.
Yeah. I think that's something I have learned over time. And I think that's it's very tough to tell people that, or you can kind of because it was tough to tell myself that a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
right? Um, and I think a lot of people will probably either figure that out for themselves or be wise enough to listen to somebody else that's made those mistakes and go from there.
That's right. That's right. So, guys, I think we've given
Oh,
you. I know, right?
yeah,
I know.
that's about it. That's
That's
about it,
it.
ladies and
That was
gentlemen.
it.
We'll take us home.
I told you I'm just getting the voice back, right? The
Yeah.
raspy. Jada is in the building. So,
There we go. All right, you go ahead and rest up, Jada Kids. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you for joining us for another episode of The Good Life, where we teach you how to live a great life, or at least share our experiences from the health and the wealth side. Make sure that you join us live on Wednesdays on YouTube, Instagram, which we didn't do today, but we will. Wherever else you're going to find us, LinkedIn, And make sure you join this group, Facebook group here, because we will be dropping a lot of very valuable bonuses and things that we won't be dropping anywhere else, things that are exclusive to the group. So make sure that you join us there, and keep an eye out. I think this year will be a really, really big year for the group, and we have some very, very, very exciting things that we are putting into play for those that choose to congregate with us, if you will.
That's right. We have workshops coming up really soon.
Oh yes, oh yeah, that's
Workshop.
exciting.
Yeah, workshop coming up really soon. The only place you're going to be able to find that workshop and that information that Kabia and I are going to give you is going to be in the Facebook group. So go over to Facebook, get into the group, get prepared, and get ready for all this great info and insight that's going to help you live that great life. So,
Yeah,
awesome, man.
another great episode in the books. I'm hyped. Shout out Detroit. And you know what, guys? Make sure that you join us for another great one, and make sure you submit your interest in Detroit facts, because I would love to know all the great things going on in the big Detroit, as they set an example for the rest of the community as to how we should behave. All right. Thank me later.
Stand up, Detroit. Eagles
Stand up.
winning the Super Bowl.
Huh?
Super Bowl champions.
Nah. Detroit
Eagles.
that's the Lions. You got
Eagles.
the team wrong.
No, Eagles though. I just wanted to plug that. Eagles.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
just-
All right. So we plug losing
plug it.
teams on the show. Huh?
Not at all. Winners all day. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace.
Welcome to the good life.